You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network. Now, the largest new media platform on the web and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Project Runway After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Project Runway After Show.
Hi, you guys. Welcome. Bing is for doing, and here at AFTERBUZZ TV, we're doing another Project Runway Season 10, Episode 5. It's My Way on the Runway recap show, so thanks for joining us. I'm Alina. This is my co-host, Virginia.
Hey, guys.
Hi, I'm Lauren Leonelli.
And I am Lauren Mendoza, and you guys can call me Lo to differentiate.
And you guys, tonight's really special because we have an awesome guest, Marcy Guevara. She's a contributing editor to Marie Claire, a stylist, and much, much more. Also a super fan, right?
Absolutely.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me, girl.
Of course.
Did you have fun watching the episode tonight?
I've been watching Project Runway since it very first started. So yes, it floods back all the memories, and it's really fun to see Nina and Joanna and even feel like an itty bitty part of their Marie Claire family.
I'm sure.
Awesome. Well, we have a lot to get into tonight, so let's get started. We're going to start with the challenge, like usual. And tonight was interesting because it's another group project. But this time, it's not just a pair. We noticed that it was a whole group, and they got to pick and choose their own groups. Lauren, you had an interesting insight to that. What do you think?
I sort of thought this was like classic, like, all right, let's do the like picking kids on the playground. It creates drama. It makes people feel nervous. And I think they sort of, it's a reality TV show. Like they want to create drama. I think they may have, I think they may have kept a certain someone on the show tonight for that reason. We will get to that later. But the picking, that's the classic, like, let's make everyone feel nervous. Let's create drama.
Yeah. And so these teams are going to create a capsule collection that's editorial but wearable at the same time. And the special part is that Nina is getting their editorial and photo shoot, which they also have to do. I'll get into that, in Marie Claire at Work, which is, I guess, a new magazine.
It's a supplement to Marie Claire. So actually, their deputy editor, Leah Goldman, one of my favorite people because she found me. They've created this thing. So it's basically for the working girl. And the Marie Claire reader is a working girl. She's like us. She's got a job. She's making it happen for herself. She may not be buying Louboutins every weekend, but she's definitely working for them. So they're creating, that working girl magazine and taking, a little piece of Marie Claire, and you'll see Marie Claire at play, Marie Claire at work, in actual Marie Claire. But yeah, this is a new supplement, and it's getting bigger and bigger, and I love it.
It's inside the magazine?
No, it's actually a separate thing.
Got it.
I actually have
And
one
it came out this year, and the first cover was Katie Holmes, and now it's Chelsea Handler.
That's right.
Yep.
Yes.
And so speaking of which, the challenge was to make a work outfit. So you guys keep that in mind. Let's start with Team 6. It was Sanji, who won last week, Elena, Melissa, Dimitri, Alicia, and Raul. And Team 5 was Nathan, Ven, Christopher, Fabio, and Gunnar. All right, Lo, what did you think of the dynamic of the teams? Did anything stand out?
Well, I thought it was interesting because I think Team 6, they kind of had some drama right off the bat. And first of all, I was very surprised that Sanji picked Elena. Like, that was her first
She was the first
choice.
pick.
And I was really kind of surprised by that. I don't think Elena works that well with other people.
Understatement.
So,
Or anyone.
So, she's kind of the general. We should just call her that. But I was kind of surprised by that. I think they had a lot more conflict. And it seemed like Team 5, they actually were getting along really well with the exception of Gunnar. He kind of seemed to be the one that just wasn't getting along with the team, was whining, was a little bit more dramatic, and wanted things his own way. And it was kind of the same thing with Raul on Team 6.
Virginia, what'd you think?
You know, I don't think Gunnar can play well with anybody, so it really wouldn't matter what team you put him on. And like you were saying, that's kind of why they're keeping him around, because he does cause the drama.
And Marcy, why do you think they keep throwing us these team projects?
Oh gosh, I mean, I think because it's exactly that. I mean, there you have that team dynamic, the group thing, but what it makes me think of, like what you just said, is in the real world, unless, even if you're running your own line, I mean, you're going to work with other people. So, I mean, Elena's behavior at the photo shoot, Gunnar's behavior, I mean, it's really unprofessional. It makes me feel like I would never want to work with someone like that. But reality is that in life you work on a team. So if you can't do it on a show where you're supposed to be kind of on your best, you know, A game, then that's a little scary.
They teach you how to play with others in like first grade, so
Kindergarten, technically, preschool, if you want.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I think is so crazy about this show is at the very beginning, you know, everybody gets so excited about the challenge, and then halfway through the challenge, they're all hating it, like, oh, I just want it to be over with. I just want to be safe. And it's like, why can't they go back to that? You know, like, what is the best I can do for this challenge? You know, and you saw that everybody kind of like they had their own breakdown, and well, I'm just going to do this. You know, and it's like they kind of, I don't know if it's just the, you know, the rush of adrenaline that they probably get, and they just, you know, they can't really focus on what their, you know, beginning goal was. And so, but you see that in everyone. They're like, oh, I just want to be safe.
These reality shows are, I love them and I'm obsessed with reality TV, but they all work on that like really basic psychology, like Lord of the Flies, survival of the fittest. Like that's why they do that. They create the team challenges because obviously, Marcy, great point, in the real world, you have to be able to work in a team, but also it's dramatic to watch. These people are so strong in their opinions and they're so artistic. There's no way in hell they're going to lay down and be like, sure, just I'll design whatever you want. Like they know it's going to be instant, too many cooks in the kitchen. I like my design. I don't know. Like everyone's instantly fighting. So it's a lesson, a skill you need to know, but it's also instant drama.
Well, and you saw the two people that were having the biggest problems were Gunnar and Raul, and they are the two weakest links. So that's why they're getting bossed around by the stronger, you know, better tailor. And they were saying they're a tailor, not a designer. But when you have people that are better than you, that know better, they can tell you, oh, don't do that. Just like Raul, those pleats in the front were just awful. And, you know.
It's a way to knock
And
out the weakest
speaking
link.
of all this drama, let's move on to the workshop where it kind of brewed up and got even worse. So Tim comes in, he tells them you have 0 time tomorrow. You have to work till 1, I believe. So
11, I think. Yeah.
11.
I wish they would tell us what time this all starts.
Right.
Well,
Like, is it
yeah.
7 a.m.? Is it 9?
I believe it's really early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that the time constraints, we talked about that on an
Last
episode
week,
before,
yeah.
it's not always super clear, and the audience isn't really let in on like how exactly they shoot and when the sequence of how things are shot. So I think a lot of people feel that way.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. But it would be nice
No,
to know
but-
they had 8 hours.
Exactly.
You know, like,
right. Yeah.
So we know they only have 1 day, basically. We don't know
Right.
how long. They the Team 6, which has 1 more member, got more money. I didn't get the
Well, they got
exact
more
amount.
money
Because they had a 6
one more
member.
look.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they had
one
one.
more
They had to
look.
create one more look, one additional look.
Team
And 30
5
minutes at Mood.
Yeah, Team
Right.
5, sorry to interject. Team 5 was Team 5 because they had 5 designers,
Correct.
5 looks. Team 6 was Team 6 because they had 6 designers, 6 looks. So,
So
yeah.
clever. Right?
Well,
yeah.
And
come
off,
on.
Clever naming.
And off the bat, Team 5 was really calm and like, let's do
Yeah.
a print in black and white. And okay, yeah, it works. Besides Gunnar.
Right.
And then Team 6 was like, no, we should do this with that. Like they're
but they ended up winning.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's
Right.
like
Well,
you're
giving it away.
You know what I like though?
People have watched.
That's
it.
okay.
Oh, I'm like,
Yeah.
isn't there?
I
Don't we
know
know
sport.
what happened?
Yeah. And you know what I like though was that I liked Team 6's strategy right in the beginning where they said, you know, we all have our strengths, let's go with those. And I like that it wasn't each person creating one full look, that they had to kind of collaborate. And maybe that's why there was a little bit more tension, was because, like, for example, Sanji's skirt depended on Raul's top, and she had to wait for him to create that, you know, or she had to decide to just go with what she wanted to do and be prepared to defend herself if it didn't work. I like that.
Yeah, it's harder to achieve what they tried to do, but they executed it, and that's why they did so good. But yeah, I think I initially agree with you. I thought Team 5 at first, I was like, oh, they're going to kick butt. Plus, Ven's on the team, so I was like,
Right.
duh.
They had a lot of talent.
They had a lot of talent.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
were really calm. They seemed cohesive.
And Team 6 seemed like total mess, like down to the wire and mood.
From the
like,
beginning.
Yeah.
So
But the thing that Team 6 did was they chose a bold color. And anytime you're doing any type of editorial or anything on camera, you
Looks so
want
good.
color.
Good call.
And if you look, the blue dress is what stood out the most, and that was the one color that they had.
did you think that too,
I
Marcy?
agree, and I think it's a great color for fall. And I was even, obviously Project Runway is sort of its own universe, and you could save that collection for the spring, or maybe do like white for fall. That could be cool for winter. But I really felt like the line that they chose to go into the magazine is perfect for fall. It's perfect for the workplace, with the exception of a couple pieces. And I mean, yeah, it just felt very appropriate.
You would see that in Marie Claire, you think? Like
Absolutely.
yeah?
I mean, I think that the resort and the chiffony-ness of it all, it felt just very summery. And I mean,
did.
we're in August, so if you think about magazines, I mean, this is going to go in probably a November issue.
Exactly.
If we're even dealing in real time.
Right.
So
And I thought you had a really good point. As the editors, they were looking at who is the working woman, because Heidi was saying, oh, well, if this was my lawyer, I would want, it'd be okay to have that little cutout in the back. But you were saying they were actually looking at who their target market was.
Yeah, you mentioned Joanna, actually.
Well, I mean, the thing is, Joanna Coles will tell you exactly who her reader is. She knows her, and Marie Claire, I think, prides itself in knowing that they are an aspirational magazine. They're not a fantasy magazine. And so when you're looking at these looks, you're going, well, where does that girl work? Because I think, like Lo said, well, at E, where I work, that would totally, that blue dress would be fabulous. But if I'm working at a bank, I'm not going to wear that blue dress. So I think knowing who your reader is just as important as knowing who is the Roberto Cavalli girl, who is the Gap girl, who is the Abercrombie girl. You know who is wearing that. And I don't feel like the designers ever talked about, like, well, who would wear this dress?
That's a good point.
How old is she? Where does she work? What's she doing after work? Can she throw on a blazer, cover up the cutouts, and then, take it off for a date? That's really important, and I think it's really good for people to take that into consideration.
Michael Kors said that exact thing on the last challenge,
Yeah.
on the last episode. He said, when you're designing for this look, you need to think about who this girl is, and the more, wasn't Michael Kors?
I believe
Yeah.
The more specific you are, the better your look will be. You're
Give her a
absolutely
story.
right. Yeah.
Give her a story.
Yeah,
Give her a
that's-
scenario.
That was the most amazing thing when I first met Joanna, was just, she's like, this is who the reader is. She's probably about 35. She has a job. She isn't married. She knows her reader. And I think every look that came down the runway, I thought, well, where would that girl work? Or even the cobalt dress. I loved
Yeah.
it. Lo thought,
Yeah.
oh, that's perfect for E. I thought it looked like it would be like a great jet blue uniform. Or,
Flight attendant.
yeah, or if you work at Marie Claire, you work
Yeah.
somewhere glamorous, but that's probably not the average girl wearing that to work, that look. So I think it's great to know, who is this girl? Where does she work? What's she doing after?
And Joanna Coles, by the way, is the editor-in-chief of Marie Claire.
Yep, and we
the
have
guest.
an inside source, you guys.
Yes, we do.
Yay! Thank you for your input. And so let's move on to the workroom. Continue with the workroom. Alina running around Team
Jeez.
6, complaining. She hates the challenge. She's yelling at everybody.
I feel like
Alina being Alina.
I feel
Yeah.
like she's gonna slit someone's throat in the middle of the
She
night.
might. Yes.
Right? Like,
Yeah. I have one good thing to say about her, though, that I noticed with her. When Tim Gunn came around and gave his critiques, she kept complaining about the top that she was making, and she didn't like it. She didn't want to move forward with it, and he actually disagreed. He didn't see the matronly look that she was complaining about, and everybody else on the team kind of agreed with Tim. So she compromised and she said, okay, fine, I'm going to go forward with it, and she went with it. Raul, on the other hand, was totally different. Everybody was kind of discouraging him from certain things, and he, for someone who kept complaining and saying over and over again, this is a team challenge. This isn't about one or two designers. It's about 6. He was probably the hardest one. He never wanted to compromise. He wanted to do it his way. That's all he wanted to do. So I thought it was interesting.
let me interject for a second. The reason why Alina was okay, I'll take one for
Right.
the team is because it benefited her and her design. That's and
But the
yeah.
judges
Right.
also said there were 6 outfits. And so it's like, it really was about, what's our vision as a whole? What's our vision as, as this group, not our individual visions. And so not only did that, I'm sorry, what was his name? I forget his
Raul.
name. Raul.
Yeah.
Not only were his shirts like the worst, but they also like led to it not being a cohesive look.
Right.
Well, they didn't like Elena's either, so.
That's true. They didn't like Elena's.
I agree with Lo though, because at least she went with what Tim Gunn said.
Yeah.
And I think it's the reason she was nitpicking is because she's a perfectionist.
Yeah.
And I think she has that insecurity.
Yeah.
So that's
I
what
can see
also
that.
makes her insane.
And taking criticism is super important. And if it's from Tim Gunn, you
Exactly.
always listen to Tim. Like
Yes.
I always am incensed when they don't do what
Thank
Tim
you.
says. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
How do
just-
you not? Yeah.
Hello.
He's telling you, ugly skirt, ugly skirt. They put the skirt out, they hate the skirt.
Yeah.
Always. Or like, you should change the zipper. Well, Tim said I should change the zipper, but I didn't really want to. Well, then that's why it sucks.
But it's kind of hard to agree with that for me, because then you see them on the runway. There were things that Heidi hated, and Joanna was like, I like that. Or that Tim Gunn. So you kind of, in a way, if you want to be a standout designer, you do have to go. You can't always just go with what Tim Gunn says if you feel strongly about
You
something.
have to, you have to have your.
It has to be
Stand
a
your ground.
balance and a moderation.
Right.
I don't think you have to change your garment completely based on what he likes.
Right.
But at least make some modifications. Like
Yeah.
if he's telling you
Yeah.
this looks like a costume,
Yeah.
you know, you can't be like, no.
Yeah,
I
you
love
have to
my
be
costume.
open-minded. I think that's kind of
Thank
the
you.
key.
That's a
And some
perfect way
aren't,
to do-
and some are.
Yeah.
So,
And bottom line, though, I will say, I mean, Joanna picks what goes in the magazine, not Heidi. I mean, Heidi's a model.
True.
I mean, we've
Right.
glorified her to where she
Right.
is, but she's a model. So
Right.
I also feel like Joanna's voice and just the sense of this is wearable, this would be seen in a magazine, this wouldn't, you know.
I have to say, I love Heidi. I like her style, but I'm starting to realize that I don't love it. She's into really sexy clothes,
Yeah.
and it's not for everybody.
But she can wear sexy. She has
Yeah,
a body, a
course. She
killer
should wear sexy.
body.
But
also
Look
single.
at her.
as she should, but
Yeah.
she
Right.
can't judge everybody's outfit.
Right.
I
off that.
agree.
But
Right.
that's her design
Right.
taste. Like she
I get
loves
it.
that. You know,
Right.
anytime a model walks out not wearing a bra, she's like, "Why are the boobs down there?" You
Yeah.
know, and she's done it for many seasons
Right.
now. She loves. You know, she's a Victoria's Secret
Victoria's
model.
Secret. Yeah,
She's
right.
used to them being pushed up, and that was her main problem with
Right.
that
But
other
bam.
dress. You
well,
know?
even Michael Kors and Joanna disagreed on things too. Like Heidi's one example, but you know, Michael Kors, he's a designer and he sells his clothes and he has to probably put a look out when he's promoting something or his ads. So,
It's a
you know,
point of view.
everybody, fashion, there's really no rules. Let's just
Yeah.
face it.
But Nina has the best style. Sorry.
I agree. I agree.
She does.
Totally.
Oh man, she is killer.
You know
I
what else was
love her.
interesting about the workroom is that Tim Gunn, I felt like he gave Team 6 a really great critique. He kind of liked what they were doing. He said he liked that they didn't all look like it was coming out of the same box. And it was funny because they had the most difficult time. Like they were the ones clashing. And then when he went to Team 5, he straight out said, it
Ugly.
looks costumey. This says
Sponge.
Olay or whatever he said. All these things. And they were the ones that were actually working a little bit better together. So I thought that was interesting.
And before, just a couple side notes, there was a couple
Yeah.
funny little things that happened in the workroom
Yeah,
as
let's
well.
get it, Lauren.
And that was when the Team 6 was calling Team 5 the silk sharp. Well, somebody said the silk
Chiffonzies.
chiffonzies, but then they were changing it to the silk chiffonies. But I
Yeah.
thought that was funny. And then Dimitri was sort of
He
commenting
had
on
some
team
one-liners.
he was commenting on Team 5, and he was saying, well, Ven, he's a runway monkey.
Right.
And we were like, what? And he's like, realize that's not the saying. And he's like, a one trick pony or whatever.
Right.
It was like
Yeah.
so funny that he said a one way.
I think he meant one-way monkey. I think he did that on purpose, and he was calling Ben a monkey. Just
I did not even think
Oh,
that.
hell yeah.
Oh,
He
It
knows
felt
what
a
he's
little
doing.
It felt a little reality-ish. Like, say that one more time for us. Say
Yeah,
it again.
right.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He
I
doesn't
felt
say
it.
a lot, but when he does, he has some little zingers.
He's a
like,
zinger.
oh, right there.
I
Yeah.
like him.
But I thought it was funny that silk chiffonzies.
The silk
Elena was actually singing it.
Yeah.
I think
It was
she
fun. I thought it was
singing
funny.
in
It
the
showed
workroom.
them kind of being
Having fun.
playful.
Yeah.
Even though they're like going against each other.
Right.
They were still being playful, and I thought that was kind of fun to see.
Absolutely. Love that. I'm glad you brought that up. All right, you guys. Speaking of these amazing designers, Lo has an update for us. You're going to tell us who the fan favorite is right now, right?
I do. I think this could come as a shock. Ooh.
Perfect.
So, with 35% of the fan favorite votes, it's Team Elena. Right?
Did they watch tonight's episode?
Possibly not, but this is the latest. And she's actually been in the lead for quite some time. But, you know, while you guys are checking out the iTunes apps, please remember to download the podcast and also continue to comment. We love your feedback. We love doing this for you. It's free. So please keep us around and keep visiting.
And tell
See
a
us on
friend.
iTunes.
It takes 1 minute, you guys, and we really, really appreciate it. And also, we all read the comments and the ratings, and I love it, even if it's criticism. So thanks.
Here's why it helps. Ready? I'm going to spill some AfterBuzz exclusive
Do it,
slash
Phil.
news.
Do it.
In the fall, we finally found a web designer we like that's not only going to just design a website, but we're going to create the website. We're going to build a Studio C. We're going to build an app. We're going to get more engineers. So instead of me and Marissa, you're going to hear some other voices. You're going to hear all these fun things. What else are we doing? Jeez, the list goes on and on. But, and again, we're not asking you for money. We're just asking you guys to help support us so that way iTunes and other people see that, wow, this is really something and fans are really digging it, which I know you guys are because you guys listen, but now just let us know via the comments.
Yep.
Please do.
Yeah.
And we
Well
really
said.
enjoy doing this, so keep us going.
And you guys can fight with each other on the comments. It's great.
I
I love
know.
seeing people
We
fight.
like drama on these shows. We
on. Yeah.
kind of wanted a little bit.
I host a big
Don't
girl
be
show.
cruel,
Yeah,
but
I
come
host
on.
a show for big girls. It's like big girl style, but skinny girls watch. And like there's nice skinny girls that are like, I love your tips. And then there's mean skinny girls like, you should just lose weight. And so people will like fight and like duke it out. And I get there like an hour later and I'm like, thanks everybody.
Ooh.
I love
That's
it.
where
So you
Skinny
guys can
Bitch
do
came
that
from, right?
Yeah, you can do that on Project Runway.
Yeah, please
AfterBuzz
do, you guys.
podcast.
Please.
Oh, Lord.
Bring
That's
it.
awesome. All right, let's move on to the runway show. Well, actually, before we do that, I'm sorry. I don't mean to digress, but there was a photo shoot, too. As I mentioned, a part of the challenge was directing their own photo shoots. And let's talk about who did well. And let's start with Marcy. You know, you worked for Marie Claire. What did you think of the editorial photo shoots?
I really just thought Elena's behavior was appalling, and I actually thought it ended fairly quickly. I mean, they like showed her being drama, and then we're like, oh, now it's the runway show. So I thought it was just, she was so unprofessional. She was making the makeup artists uncomfortable, the hair people, the models, her own team, and that's just not fun. Again, it is a team effort. There needs to be compromise, and I thought it was really ultimately unprofessional, which reality TV is kind of crazy. I was on a reality show. It was a blip, but you never know. What if someone wanted to hire her at Zara? But they're like, you know what? Her aesthetic's perfect for Zara, but she's a biatch.
Yeah.
You know, and that really could affect your, you know, ultimately your career goals. So I think she should be careful about her behavior. Even though it's drama and it's good for TV, you have to protect your brand and your, you know, persona.
Yeah.
It was
Virginia?
just really interesting because she was getting upset with Dimitri because Dimitri was telling her basically to calm down, and she was like, I don't like the way you're talking to me, as she's cussing at him. And
I think that was Melissa.
the
Wasn't
blonde
that
one.
Melissa?
Yeah. It was
Yeah,
Melissa,
she went
Yeah.
at
Big
Melissa.
blowout.
She was
Yeah.
like, you need to calm down. And she's like, don't talk to me like that.
Right. And Melissa handled it really well, I thought. And I thought she did the right thing. I think, you know, she made a good point. Like, you're making everyone uncomfortable. She's causing unnecessary stress. And she wasn't being a team player.
Not at all. Lauren, besides the drama, what did you think of the actual photo shoots? Did you prefer one?
I loved watching the photo shoots. And by the way, guys, Tom Hines was the photographer.
Thank you.
And they had, just for a little detail, they had 3 hours and 3 photos that they had to choose to submit to the judges that were going to play as the models walked down the runway. So I liked watching the photo shoot. I thought it was interesting to see they had the option to play with props or not. And that screen was making me real nervous. That black screen every
For
time
Team 6.
Yeah, every time they brought it in, and somebody said, "Oh, it looks so catalog-y." I don't remember who it was, but it was so true.
I think
looked-
it was
Elena.
Elena.
it was Elena.
Yeah.
But I mean, fine. She can express her opinion, but she just articulates it in such an aggressive manner that it's like
Right.
really like, hey, open forum, say what you need to say, but learn how to speak to other
Right.
people. Like, say what you mean, but don't say it mean.
Not yell
I
it.
think the props were weird too because it's the difference of being on location versus in the studio. Like the really stark white with just like a desk and the girls looked really nice and
Great.
upscale. But then when they brought in the scrim or like the chairs, it felt a little bit catalog-y because it wasn't like they were actually like
At a work.
at a high rise
Yes.
or, you know, somewhere They felt industrial.
They felt in limbo with that. So I agree with you on that. I liked the use of the props. I liked the simple idea of an office. And I think both of the photo shoots turned out pretty well, but I will say I think that the colors that Team 5 used really, or Team 6, excuse me, the cobalt blue really read well on camera. So that's what I thought.
Melissa's dress looked gorgeous, and we actually all mentioned, wow, what a pretty color.
Yeah.
And it did turn out to look that way.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing is they had 3 hours to do the shoot. So why they were freaking out, Elena having to have the props, it's like just let them do the props and then take the props out and you can do the same thing. You have, 3 hours for 3 looks is a long shoot.
Well, to
I
set
think
up
it's
lights
hard.
and stuff, it does take some time. But, it wasn't like they had 45 minutes. They had time, but, you have all those people and all those opinions and setups and all that.
I wonder, did that include their styling, though? Like, did they have to get them
No.
styled
No,
and
that
then
was
take
before.
them?
shooting.
Okay.
Just
I
shooting.
would like to just note that I think cobalt blue is going to be a great color for fall.
Prediction.
And let's not just do gray, black, and brown. Let's
Yeah,
get a little
I
color
agree.
in there.
I
Don't
like that.
leave the summer. Don't leave the colors in the summer.
I agree.
Insider tip,
I
you
agree.
guys. Write it down. All right.
AfterBuzz TV exclusive.
Yes, thank you, Marcy.
Wow.
Straight
Thanks,
from Marcy.
Marcy.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. So let's continue with the runway. Team 5. We see the white, black, and then this
The pattern.
purple
Right,
pattern
yeah.
top. What did you guys think, Virginia?
I like the way that Christopher kind of tore it up and made it his own because, like Michael Kors said, it was an awful print that he made, not look like your grandma would wear that. So, I didn't like the print so much. I like what Christopher did with it.
That's a great point. I liked his skirt a lot. Lo, what'd you think?
I agree with that. The only problem I had with Christopher's outfit was maybe that it looked like he just spent all his time on the skirt and there was a little bit less time, like just with the simple white top. Then again, I would wear that, so I can't complain too much. But I liked Fabio's outfit as well, the black and white dress with the little V, and it was loose. I agreed with what Michael Kors said in saying that a lot of, any age group could really wear that.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's a good thing, though. I feel like Michael Kors,
Yeah.
he is dressing women of a variety of ages. But if I walked into a party and a woman that was 20 to 40 years older than me was wearing the same dress, which happens all the time now with Forever 21.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like that.
Well, but I felt like that dress was very classy and
Timeless.
and that kind of a look can translate across the age range. But yes, you're right.
That's a dangerous territory.
it's very
Yeah.
risky.
Dangerous.
That dress I think could work, but
Yeah. But
sometimes
wouldn't
not.
it depend on body type? And you know a lot about this.
Sure.
Like, not every body type could wear that. So maybe any age could.
It just was a
depending
funny
on your
thing
shape.
to be like, I could see a woman that's 20 or 60 wearing that.
60 was a little bit of a
60
stretch for
Madonna.
me.
Madonna turned 54 today. So
there you
Madonna 60 or
Yeah.
my grandma 60. There's a real big difference.
right.
I
And it's
agree.
all how you wear it and accessorize it.
True.
An older woman would wear stockings,
Tights, yeah.
and
Perhaps.
Stockings. How old are you, Alina? Are you like 60?
you guys,
Stockings?
I'm a grandma inside. I'm
She
an old
said
soul.
stockings, you guys. Did you all hear that? I'm sorry.
What do you call them? Tights?
Tights.
I grew up calling them tights.
Tights.
People call them leggings
Hose.
now.
No, they're
hose.
tights.
No. That is a grandma word.
Pantyhose.
Whoa.
Listen, I also wear my grandma's clothes. Okay, I found some amazing cardigans.
Hey, what
in
is
her
old is new
closet.
again, correct?
All right.
I'm just saying
I'm backing you.
stockings.
And I've borrowed stockings from her as well. Okay.
God, you're
Black
back.
tights, gray tights, printed tights, you can do. But if you are wearing nude colored or beige, we're going to come get you.
Cinnamon colored nylons, circa 1980 jazz dance show.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Unless you're a dancer.
Unless
I had
you're
many a
Queen
pairs back in my
Beyonce.
day.
Or you work at Hooters.
Queen Beyonce.
Good call.
wears them all the time.
Yeah. Those dance skin Capizio
Yeah.
Whatever. Bottom line, Alina,
pre-spanks.
tights.
Our systems detect that a host has wandered off the subject.
Okay.
All right, sorry.
to bring us back.
This was a very important subject, Phil. I'm sorry. All right, so let's continue. Team 5. What do you think, Marcy?
Remind me. Oh,
White,
I think
purple.
that Gunner's dress looked like it was for the club, and I didn't like his personality.
Really?
I didn't like him. I didn't like his green pants. I didn't like his highlighted hair. Everything about him is so annoying.
Wait, Gunners is for the club? Really?
Oh
I
my
disagree,
God.
too.
I wrote clubbing dress
Wait, but this was, it had a high neck.
in Miami. Okay, like
No.
clubbing in Miami. I didn't like it.
Form-fitted.
But it wasn't.
had a loose-
It
I
wasn't
thought
work
it looked-
appropriate.
It was
that's
hoochie
for
mama.
sure.
Yeah, you're not wearing that to work.
I think it was hoochie at all.
I just thought it looked
Am I a
cheap.
hoochie?
I don't agree with that either. But
Maybe it
think
was
so.
cheap. Maybe it was cheap.
I thought it was cheap.
I wrote clubbing dress.
What's with the
thought it was
side panel
conservative.
too?
It's just, yeah, I don't know. It wasn't, I didn't, maybe, I don't know. I
Did
didn't
you
like
think it was conservative?
I vote no.
I thought it was kind of conservative.
I
no?
disagree,
let's-
and
yeah.
here's why. I didn't think I've seen girls at clubs here and Miami,
Correct.
and they have no clothes on. But it was tight.
true.
It didn't seem work appropriate. I'll agree.
That's
with you
what
on
it was.
that.
It was
Yes.
not work appropriate. I think I went to the extreme, like
fine.
the
Okay.
club. But you know, it's again, where does this girl work? Is she an escort? Is she a concierge at the Beverly Hilton? Because maybe there that would be okay. But it's just again, who is this girl? Where does she work? What's she doing after? What's she
Silk
doing before?
chiffonsies. Ugh,
Yeah.
that white, terrible. Team 6. Let's move on. I loved everything. Well, almost everything. I didn't like Elena's jacket, but otherwise I thought it was beautiful. Melissa, wow, that dress.
Yes.
Stunning. And I thought it was high fashion. And so
I just didn't like the brown outfit. I don't know where that even came from.
The skinny
how it
trousers
fit
or the
in.
wide legs?
The
Skinny.
skinny trousers with the brown. It was just like brown on brown on brown. Who wants to wear that much brown? I don't know. I love color though.
They did with the pop of blue shoe though.
Yeah, the shoes were
But
cute.
you could barely
And
see
I like
them.
a skinny trouser, I have to say. I thought they looked good on the model. And if you have the right
Yeah.
body type, or if they're a really skinny trouser with like a flowy shirt, that could be really cute.
Yeah.
I liked the ruching at the bottom of those trousers. The color
Yeah.
was a little weird though, Virginia.
Like
I
they could
agree.
have done a blue top.
Yeah,
You know, a blue
you're right.
top
Yeah.
with a brown
Or a
pants. That would have been
necklace.
nice.
Good call.
Accessorize, maybe.
I love that jacket.
I did too, actually. I really love the
It looked kind
jacket.
of like a Rick Owen leather jacket, but it was not just leather.
Yeah.
It was, I think, fabric as well.
Right. And you could wear that with anything and in any season, I think.
Yeah.
I like that.
You girls, Lauren.
Go ahead.
I
Lauren.
loved Dimitri. This
Dimitri.
dress did not look like it was about to take the stage on Dancing with the Stars or be something that someone
No.
might wear doing a triple sow cow.
But
But
broke out of his element.
I thought the shoulders were great. Heidi liked the back cutout because it was
course she
sexy.
did.
I didn't think it was like overtly sexy, but definitely a specific workplace for that. And I like Sanji's top and the drape stripe skirt, and it photographed really well. And and the photograph that they really loved was those two together. And I thought that those were my favorite.
Low.
Me? Well,
Yeah,
Melissa's
you.
was by far my favorite. Just in the workroom, I could tell I loved it. I think it looks like it's easy to put on, and it is high fashion. And I did love the color, of course. I also love Sanji's blue pencil skirts.
Yes.
She made some killer pencil skirts.
Yes, she did make some killer
Such
pencil
a great
skirts.
basic
Yeah.
piece to have, too. A
Right.
pencil skirt.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I liked Elena's jacket that went with the skinny pant, the like half leather one. And I did not like her puffy top thing. Yeah. And the judges mentioned that a lot about her always going over the top with her shoulder construction, and it never seems to work. Like you can have really amazing shoulders in all of your designs, but you have to do it well. And she just doesn't seem to get it right.
It's just too much.
Too much.
Thank you.
Well, and it's crazy because she did the brown jacket that was so simple and so sleek.
And they loved it.
And they
Yeah.
loved it. So it's
just
why
capable.
it's like her fallback is, oh, if I can't figure out what to do, I'll just slap some crazy shoulders on and call it a day.
And go fencing.
Marcy, what'd you think?
I mean, I loved.
What was your
I
pick?
liked all of them. I think the biggest thing for me is with thinking about it being at work is, can I throw this outfit on and really go to work? So I'm not wearing a blazer because I have to hide the cutouts, or I'm not adding a sleeve or an undershirt or something to make it more appropriate for work. I thought the pencil skirt outfit was perfect. I mean, you could walk out any of the trouser outfits. I think the challenge was to be wearable but still that high fashion feel.
Editorial.
Exactly. And again, it's like the blue dress. It was everyone's favorite, but it was also like, you know, where does this girl work? So
I thought that was a
telling you,
little
I could
more
wear that.
editorial. I loved it. It was
Yeah.
a little more editorial than every day, but that's definitely a stunner.
And this is the other thing I thought is, how many times do we see something on the runway and then it's dumbed down a little for the store? So maybe that collar gets taken down a notch for, you know, Nordstrom or
Right.
Macy's, and they do it in a more subdued way for the workplace.
It looked like you could roll it
Fold
down
it.
too.
Right.
So
Like
maybe
a cowl neck.
Same thing with the cutouts. I mean, you could do that same exact dress just without the cutouts,
sheer-
and now it's perfectly appropriate.
sheer or lace or something. Yeah.
Very good points. All right, let's get to the winner and the loser. Let's start with the good news. Drum roll, please.
Oh, we'll just do it. We'll just do it. Don't worry.
There you go. Thank you, guys. And the winner was Melissa. Yay! All right, she had the cobalt blue dress that we all loved. The judges seemed to love it.
Yeah.
So she was the winner. And finally, because I thought she's had some strong
Yes.
Yeah.
stuff.
And it photographed really well. They always said they said that photographed the best.
And the team that won.
The
Yes.
team that won was also Team
Team
6. So it was tied at first, but they apparently had one notch above Team 5.
So that means they get their fashion spread in Marie Claire.
Yeah.
At work.
At work.
At work.
That's really exciting.
Yeah.
Did you agree with that? Would you have picked that over?
100%.
Good.
Absolutely. I mean, and again, thinking about it in real time, thinking about putting together the November, December issue, you're going to go with something that's more fall, more appropriate. And again, where did those women in white work? I don't know. A cruise ship.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
In 1997.
Well, and they brought up a good point that the best looking piece was the one that was sitting down in a chair, and you couldn't even really see the
Yes.
skirt. Where the other two pieces, you saw, the
Gunner's
the
dress.
Gunner's dress, which who wants to look at that? And then Dimitri's dress, which had the blue and the black, that photographed really well.
Gorgeous.
Too.
I loved that. Very creative color blocking and just, I loved that dress.
I know. Dimitri is on my list. All right. Let's get to the loser, though, you guys. This was pretty sad, but I
No, it
think
wasn't.
deserved.
Yeah.
Raul. Goodbye for
Aw.
the second time.
Yeah. He needed to go.
Something else that was also sad, Alina,
Oh
when
my
they
God.
found
I don't-
Kuon's comb on the floor.
I tweeted about that.
Oh.
It was just,
We
you
miss
said
you,
it was,
Kuon.
I know, she said it was sad. I just wanted to say that she also had another sad moment when Kuon it was a little piece, a little reminder. I thought it was kind of just nice.
There.
But yeah, no, Raul was already gone one time, guys.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have
Yeah.
been back.
And it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, it was
Plus,
funny when they were asking,
hair.
like, who's the weakest link? Plus the dirty bank. Yeah, we
dirty
don't want to
bank.
look at that anymore. No, it was funny when they were asking who's the weakest link in your group, and everybody pretty much said Raul, with the exception of Dimitri because he didn't like Elena's work ethic. And Raul said Elena as well, and said she couldn't compromise her design. But he, I thought, was the worst offender of that in this entire episode.
Hypocrite.
Yeah. I mean, I will say I didn't agree with the judges that his top was horrible. I didn't think it was that bad.
Neither did I.
But I don't think he's that great. I think he was ready to go, and I don't think he worked well at all with his team. So I was not sad to see him leave.
And then when they went back into the workroom to say
Oh,
goodbye,
yeah.
he really let Elena have it. I don't remember exactly what he said. Does any of you remember?
He said, I think you're the most talented person, but I don't like you.
But
There
then
was
I
a
don't
lot of
like
bleeps.
Elena.
But then when he left, he did say that. But then when
Oh.
he left and he
Yes.
came back in and he was hugging everyone goodbye, he said something about like,
He said
and make
that I
sure
don't
she
like- yeah.
she
gets
gets
out of
out of here or something. It was
There
like
were a lot of
very-
bleeps in his comment. There was like every other.
But you know what?
word was a
Whatever.
bleep.
He pulled
That's
a
just-
her. He acted
he's
like
being
her.
passive aggressive right
Yeah,
there.
they could never work together, obviously.
I was terrified for Dimitri though after he said Elena. I just did not know what was going to happen in that workroom, if she was going to maybe slit
It's
his throat
civil
back
war
there. But
in
it was,
Eastern Europe.
She called
was
it like
scary.
the civil Cold War or whatever you call it.
It's civil war. I think
Is he
he's from
Russian?
Eastern Europe.
I
I think
think
she's
they're
from
both-
Ukraine.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Oh man,
Yeah.
Well, then he
Scary.
could take her.
he could take
could
her.
take her.
Hello, he
No
can
big
do a
deal.
what? A triple sow cow.
He could do
Right.
a triple sow count. She
She
could
can't.
fence his throat off.
Oh yeah,
Whatever. She's annoying. Sorry.
yeah, yeah.
All right, you guys. Tonight we have a guest, as you all know, duh. So we're not going to do news like we usually do. We're going to talk to Marcy because she does a lot of wonderful stuff. So first off, I want to ask, how did you start contributing for Marie Claire, and has fashion always been something you're really passionate about?
Well, if you guys are anything like I am, I mean, I remember I had a very specific outfit that I was obsessed over having my Barbie wear, and it was a jumpsuit. And I remember always being like to my aunt, like, will you please help me get this on? And I would like, put it on her, and she would be in it for a little bit, and then I would always have to take it off and put her in a new outfit. But then I would always come back to that jumpsuit. So yeah, I mean, I've loved fashion since I was a little kid playing Barbies, and Marie Claire, Leah Goldman, found me online. I was doing some other plus size style videos, and she asked me to do it for Marie Claire. So it's been an amazing, just wild ride, and it's really fun to give all girl style advice, but specifically my advice is for girls that are curvier. But if you're a size 2 or a 22, there's a lot of things that we talk about on my show, which is on Hello Style on YouTube, that work for everybody, you know?
Fashion tips are tips, right?
They're tips.
I was really surprised because I'm an avid reader of Perez Hilton, and I saw you on Coco Perez. I was like, I know her.
Yes.
It was so exciting, and you contribute really like you said, it's for anybody, because I was reading it and I was like, oh man, I didn't even know that. And I read fashion stuff all the time.
It's fun.
Can you give us a tip?
Well, geez, a
Give us a tip,
of the
please.
day. I mean, I think, this is like
I
putting
like
the
this.
pressure on, really. I mean, I think the biggest thing about Perez that I like, the difference between Perez and Marie Claire, is I can be a little bit more, Marie Claire is high class. They're classy broads over there. And
Right.
so you can have a little
Classy
more fun
broads.
with Perez, But I mean, I think my biggest tip right now, especially transitioning into fall, is to just keep the color. Like I said, that cobalt is going to be amazing, and just incorporating prints, using some of your maxi dresses like through the fall, especially in California. I mean, we have the best weather. It's not, I'm ready for boots and tights.
Me
Or
too.
stockings.
Don't even.
But I think
Hose.
it's just having color and not over layering. I think a lot of times girls just add so much weight on by over layering, and don't do that. Don't do
Right.
that.
Keep it simple.
Keep it
I
simple.
like that.
I like that.
And I also wanted to ask, actually, let me let you girls ask something too. I don't want to hog the
Low.
Oh.
farm.
Well, are you able to fill us in on anything that you have coming up? Any new projects?
Oh gosh, there's lots of new things. I am
Yeah.
styling more clients, and so that's exciting. I just worked with a girl named Lily May, who was on the Glee project. So that's been really
yes.
fun because it's Glee. And it's on Lifetime. No, it's on Oxygen.
Oxygen.
Ooh,
Oxygen, yeah.
Sisters, though. Sister networks.
Yes.
And so, yeah, it's fun. It's really fun to see my work on TV. And I think, again, my niche is for plus-size girls. And so whether it's, Gabourey Sidibe or it's Lily May from the Glee Project, I think it's really fun to work with women that have a challenging body type, according to the plus size, the fashion world. And it looks like next week on Project Runway, there's going to be a plus size person involved somehow with these
Possibly.
different models they're going to have. And Ven is like giving somebody some shit.
Don't talk about Ben.
We
I'm
actually
just saying,
didn't talk about
for
Ben
somebody
today.
with a little tum tum, you shouldn't be giving someone who doesn't have a perfect body any grief at all. So
Agreed. And everybody,
Okay.
no matter what size you are, feels like they have a problem area. And
Absolutely.
clothes are never like made to fit. Like everyone
Everyone.
has to get things fixed and hemmed, and so it's a problem for everyone, I think.
Lauren, do you have a question?
Well, besides the tip, because I always want to know what a tip is. Okay. I want to know who you like out of the designers on this season. Like, who really sticks out for you, does that translate to someone who you could see in Marie Claire at work? Is it the same?
I thought Melissa's attitude was awesome, personally. I mean, she feels like a Roxy girl, or like she would be designing for Quicksilver or something like that, like beachy. I thought she had just a really, really good attitude, worked well with everyone. I thought her design was awesome. I think that Dimitri, as much as I kind of want to hate him and he feels like a character, I mean, he feels like the guy from Ratatouille. Like the restaurant critic in Ratatouille.
But you like his style,
His
though.
style is
Yes.
great. And I
Okay.
think sometimes, especially coming from a different country, having a different aesthetic, but I'm probably fairly certain that all of them will get great jobs or do their own line and be in Marie Claire someday at some point. Like, I love when they do the Banana Republic challenge or the challenge for a specific brand, because then I feel like, of course, anybody can have their, like, this is low by low, this is my vision.
That's right.
But when you try to get, when you get really specific, like, this is for Kohl's.
Yes.
That means it's $50. That means it's probably cotton. That means that, it's going to be something that feels expensive but is actually affordable. That, to me, is a really great challenge and a great way to see someone's potential for the real
in the
world.
real world.
And lastly, we don't have that much time, but I want to ask for aspiring designers, stylists, or just fans of fashion that are listening, what's your advice to them? How can they make it? Because obviously, people would love to be in your position.
Dreams come true. I mean, I think with anything, number one, fashion is accessible to everyone. So whether you are shopping at Ross or you are shopping at Bloomingdale's, it's whatever you make of it. So if your budget is Salvation Army Goodwill, then make that work. Be the most fashionable girl in your junior high on your budget, at your size, whatever that means for you, so wherever you shop. And I think that if you have a dream or a goal to be on Project Runway, to be a designer, to be a stylist, whatever it is, to be on television or on the internet, I think it's really important to just do everything you can to do that thing. So if I say I want to be a chef, but every day I'm not cooking, well, I'm probably never going to become a chef. So it's the same thing with, putting in your 10,000 hours. They say that's what it takes to be an expert in something. And you'll see people on Project Runway who don't have the skills, who get on because they've got a big personality and a cool vision, but then they can't sew.
Yeah.
It's a big problem for a show where construction is important versus Fashion Star where they're not selling, sewing the garments. So I think it's like know your craft and be really, really good at it and have a passion for it and work every day towards it.
Awesome.
Great advice.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, girls,
We
for having me.
appreciate having you here. And let's get into predictions, you guys.
Let's do it.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Well, my prediction is that next week, I'm not going to say who's leaving or who is going to win, but my prediction is that we're going to see which designers can actually make it because they're finally designing for real people and not perfect models.
Yep.
I think Gunner's going to go.
Ooh,
He should.
strong statement. I like it, Virginia. Low.
I think it could be either Gunner or Elena because I think they may have difficulty working with their client because they don't really work well with people, want to do things their way.
I think Elena is going to get in a real big fight. And I'm going to, I mean, it's not a shock, but I feel like she is going to like assault somebody. And I don't want to like predict violence, but she's a victim of her own reputation. And I feel like she's going to like slap somebody or something.
Someone's going to die.
Neither Gunner or
Marcy?
Elena is leaving. I hate to break it to you, but
Dun, dun, dun.
they're not. From
Is
a
that the
reality
exclusive?
TV perspective, they're too good. They're too genius, too content. There's a couple borings in there. There's a couple.
Alicia, we said that.
Slides under the radar.
Dreads. Dreads is going to go.
She doesn't make any wow pieces.
And so is the
right?
one that made the pencil skirt with the diagonals.
No, Sanji. No.
Sanji's
She's
not
gonna
giving
go.
us enough reality TV juice.
Sanji's been great. She's won a challenge. She's been fantastic.
But for TV. Remember, this
I
is
still
not
think she's
just
great.
fashion. This is TV.
I'm not saying
That's
Elena's going to get kicked off. I'm just saying she's going to get
gonna kill
get physical.
She's going
And
to
somebody
kick
should
someone,
say
not get
she
kicked
should have
off.
been in timeout after today.
Hell yeah.
Somebody needs to say something to her.
All right, you guys, that wraps it up for us. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Alina. Follow me on @_Alina23. Virginia.
And you can just find me at virginiarena.com.
Ooh.
Go ahead, Lauren.
I am Lauren Leonelli. You can find me at Lauren Leonelli on Twitter. Same name on Facebook. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Lauren Leonelli as well.
Ooh, you can find me on Twitter at LO_VALLES. And I believe I'm on Instagram as well at LowVias.
I love it. You can get me at marcyguevara.com. I'm going to go pull a Virginia Reyna. It's all there. Twitter, Tumblr, do it all.
And again, thank you, Marcy. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you so much.
He's our engineer extraordinaire.
And Marissa.
And Marissa.
And Marissa. Yay.
Phil and Marissa.
Thanks, guys.
AfterBuzz.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff. We would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.